KSN News at 10 begins now.
My cousin come up and told me that he had passed, and I lost it. I hit the ground.
17 people that were shot. Do you think you're lucky to be alive?
Yeah. Yeah, I am. I was just worried about my babies. I didn't want to leave them. I wasn't ready to leave yet. I didn't want to die. I don't know, man. I just wanted to get home to my kids.
He was obviously in a lot of pain. I don't know what he was going through, but obviously he felt this was the way out.
The community of Hesston in pain tonight, mourning for those lost, but rallying behind the survivors of the tragic shooting. Good evening, everyone. I'm Stephanie Bergman.
And I'm Darren Dito. Thank you for joining us tonight live from Hesston with our special coverage on KSN News. Yes, we are focusing on how this community is coming together tonight to deal with this tragedy, and we're also getting the very latest information about the investigation that's happening as we speak, right?
That's right. Tonight we are focusing on the survivors, the victims, and their families. We want to these are workers being remembered tonight. We want to show you those victims killed. First of all, Josh Higbee on the left. He was just 31 years old. This is Brian Sadowski. He was 44 years old. And the third victim killed was Renee Benjamin at just 30 years old.
And we're also keeping an eye on the conditions of the survivors that are in the hospital. At our last check, we know that there are currently 7 patients at Via Christi. 4 of those patients are in fair condition, 2 are serious, and 1 is critical. At Wesley Medical Center, they are treating 4 patients. 3 of them are listed in serious condition, and 1 is improving tonight in fair condition. Now, we've also been in contact with the Newton Medical Center. They report a total of 6 patients. 3 have been treated and released. 1 has been transferred to Wesley.
The residents of Hesston and the surrounding communities came together tonight for a candlelight vigil to show their support for those victims and to pray for those still fighting for their lives.
KSN's Avery Anderson is actually live at a makeshift memorial nearby where we are for one of those victims. Avery.
Darren, Stephanie, it's been a very tough and emotional 28 hours here in the town of Hesston. Now, about 6 o'clock, hundreds of attendees, participants, residents, if you will, of Hesston and surrounding towns came to a vigil held at Heritage Park, and it was a candlelight service just in remembrance and memorial for the victims that have been impacted through this, along with the Excel industrial employees, all of the families as well. And let me show you something real quick. There's been a makeshift memorial put up beside the road on Old Highway 81. There's some flowers, some candles, a sign over there, and a teddy bear. There was also some balloons that were sent up earlier today. It's been a very, like I said, emotional time. There's been lots of hugs, lots of tears, but there's some things that are not lacking, and that's love and support.
I feel like you need a hug.
A solemn and tear-filled night as more than 200 people came out to Heritage Park on Friday.
I feel the love here, and it just goes to show that when a small community does come together, and it's not just people from Hesston that's here. There's people from Newton and Halstead and Burton and far away. I mean, people are driving to come here to support.
There's a lot of love, I admit that. There's a lot of support here, and I just hope everybody takes advantage of the support.
It's a hard thing to deal with, so, you know, it's kind of pleasant to have this many people show up.
Tragedy struck this town over 24 hours ago, but the residents tell me that this journey together is only going to make Hesston stronger.
You know, this is a great community. Excel is a great place to work. You know, we're like a family. We're very close, and this community is a very good community, and they're really about helping each other.
One attendee at the vigil told me earlier tonight, he put it best in saying that, you know, this is a long journey that the town of Hesston has to endure together. There's a lot of questions that still have to be answered, a lot of grieving process, but they said that this journey is going to be made together as a town, and they're going to become stronger at the end of it. For now, live in Hesston, Avery Anderson, KSN News.
Yeah, they certainly are pulling together tonight. Thank you very much, Avery. You know, a ton of thoughts and prayers are going out to those shooting victims that continue to recover at hospitals throughout the area.
That's right. KSN's Molly Brewer talked to one man who was actually shot 4 times and lived to tell about it.
Lucky to be alive is what Adam Miller would tell you he feels right now. He's here at Via Christi St. Francis recovering after being shot 4 times. But even amidst all of his own pain, Adam says his heart goes out to the shooter.
My heart breaks for him.
Adam says when he first saw the shooter, he wanted to warn him.
I told him he needs to run, there's a fire, and he just looked confused, so I told him again, and he said, I know, and then he shot me. I got hit once in the thigh, once in the bicep, and 2 times in the chest.
He handed his phone to first responders to call his wife.
They said there was an accident, he was injured, but he is okay. So that was the first thing, but of course, not knowing, I was still just like panicking, and I didn't know he was okay until I finally saw him last night.
Forever thankful to the crews that rushed to save him.
I'm terrible with remembering names, otherwise I'd shout out all kinds of names. I love you guys.
As for his feelings towards the shooter,
I don't know what he was going through, but obviously he felt this was the way out, and so my heart just aches for him.
Adam knows he has a long recovery to go, but he says the first thing he plans on doing when he leaves the hospital is spending time with his wife. Outside Via Christi St. Francis, Molly Brewer, KSN News.
Of course, we will keep you updated on Adam's condition, and we certainly do wish him a speedy recovery.
We certainly do. Several people at one church in Hesston came together today after yesterday's tragedy. The pastor of Kingdom Life of Ministry says it's necessary to come together in this time of need. He hopes their prayers will help the victims of the shooting and the rest of the community heal.
Sometimes it's good to just do things, and one of them is to get together, hear everybody's stories, and sing, worship, point your anxiety and your hurt and pain to God.
He says they'll have another vigil at the Hesston High School Sunday at 6 p.m.
Well, certainly we have been focusing all day on the victims and the survivors in this story, but we do need to tell you that there are some new developments in the criminal investigation. KSN waited to identify the shooter in this case. Of course, we're talking about Cedric Ford until officials positively confirmed his identity. Now, Ford is 38 years old and worked for Excel Industries. He had a criminal record that goes back to 1997. He's been charged with a variety of crimes, including burglary, evading police, and grand theft. And he also spent some time in prison in Florida until 2005.
And tonight we have learned that there has been an arrest in this case in connection with the shooter, a woman charged with providing firearms that he used to kill 3 people. KSN's Brittany Glass is in studio tonight. She goes in depth on the woman charged with distributing a firearm to a felon.
It's the latest action taken by law enforcement in this investigation. An arrest alleging how Cedric Ford was able to possess those firearms, despite the fact that he was a convicted felon. 28-year-old Sarah J. Hopkins remains behind bars tonight at the Sedgwick County Jail. A special agent with the ATF arrested Hopkins, alleging she, quote, knowingly transferred firearms to Cedric Ford. The arrest affidavit indicates a Glock Model 22 40 caliber semi-automatic handgun and a Zastava Serbia AK-47 type semi-automatic assault rifle were both found on Ford's body after he was shot and killed at the scene of Thursday's shooting inside Excel Industries. We now know the extent of Hopkins' relationship with Ford. The affidavit detailing that Hopkins told law enforcement she had previously been in a relationship with Ford, that they lived together for a period of time in Newton, but after a somewhat back and forth with the 2 firearms, Hopkins says she returned both guns to Ford in or about August 2015, reportedly because, quote, Ford had threatened her. We are also working tonight to confirm that the couple was engaged and expected to be married according to reports. That was supposed to happen in May of last year. Brittany Glass, KSN News.
And we are told tonight that jail records do not currently show Hopkins' bond amount, simply that it is an active charge on hold for federal charges.
And we will have much more coverage coming up from Hesston right after the break.
I just want everybody to keep the painters in their thoughts. They were hit the hardest, and one of our guys did it, and it's really unreal to think. But just keep us in your prayers, and we really appreciate it.
It's like
1, 2, 3.
Love you, Brian.
Love you, Brian.
Welcome back to Hesston, the scene of that mass shooting yesterday. And one man that everyone, including our Kansas governor, is calling a hero is Hesston's own police chief, Doug Schrader. Brownback says preliminary information indicated that Chief Doug Schrader entered XL Industries and shot and killed the gunman. Brownback says without Chief Schrader's aggressive response, more people would have been at risk. Now, we spoke to close friends of the chief who say he is a humble man and would have considered this just part of his job.
I mean, if there's a medal of honor for the police department and EMS, I think those guys should get some very good recognition, because there is no doubt in my mind that there would have been more people hurt if he wouldn't have just gone in and done his thing. I know he would say, yeah, I was just doing my job.
Schrader has been the chief here in Hesston since the late 90s.
The mayor of Hesston spoke tonight at the vigil for the victims. Mayor David Kaufman was contacted by President Obama earlier today to discuss the tragic shootings. Now, during his speech at the vigil tonight, he thanked first responders for their bravery and said the community is blessed to have them. He also spoke to the families of those affected by this tragedy.
We just want to be here and let you know that you are loved and you're a part of this community. And we will continue to be here for you as we go on. So God bless all of you.
The mayor also encouraged the community to continue to keep the survivors and their families in their thoughts and their prayers.
Well, the weather has certainly cooperated for tonight's candlelight vigil and for the investigators still hard at work. Coming up next, Dave will have your forecast, and we'll be back live from Hesston with more coverage.
All I can tell you guys is just hold your prayers open for these folks. Hold your prayers open for yourself, because we got a long road ahead of us.
Now, your KSN Storm Tracker 3 forecast.
We are very beautiful tonight, no question about it. Our radar has a clear scan across central Kansas, and with our interactive technology, it's pretty easy for me just to move us on out here and check out western Kansas, southwest Nebraska. Looking pretty good, no problems. In fact, if we have a problem, it's that the weather is too good. Let me explain, starting off with where we are right now. Wichita checking in at 37. Here at this hour, the wind has died down a little bit, southwest wind at 6. Here's the problem. Dry air. Our dew point is only 20. Relative humidity is at 50%. So our air, the air that we have in place here is dry, and if anything, tomorrow is probably going to get a little bit drier. Around the metro area, 37 at Wichita, actually one of the cooler numbers. McConnell still has 45. Coldest is Hutchinson at 36. Let's check around the rest of Kansas. The freezing line showing up right around Hill City, kind of an island of ice, 30 there, but everybody else is above the freezing mark. In fact, it's still a balmy 48 in Elkhart in southwest Kansas. But overall, a chilly feel here. And as we go through the night, notice that our Stormcast computer doesn't generate any cloud cover overnight. So you wake up 8 o'clock Saturday morning, you head out the door, it'll be bright and sunny, just a little bit cold. This is not going to last very long, though. As we go through the day, we're going to get a blustery southwest wind picking up, and as we get into lunchtime, plenty of sunshine, the wind, that dry air that we just talked about, and of course, dry, tender vegetation. It's going to be a high fire danger day right on through the afternoon. I want you to enjoy the day. I want you to enjoy the great outdoors, but please do observe fire precautions. Even just flicking a cigarette butt out the window on a day like tomorrow is enough to send firefighters scrambling. Hey, tomorrow night we'll have a little bit of high clouds coming into western Kansas, but like I like to say, nothing serious, just a little serious. Tonight for Wichita, not even that. Starry skies, 33 for the overnight low with south winds 5 to 15. Then tomorrow, can you believe this? The last weekend in February, 70 in Wichita, 72 at Hutch, 73 at Arc City. But here's the problem. That wind is going to pick up southwest 15 to 30. Watch for your fire precautions. Western Kansas should be fairly quiet tonight, just a little bit cold. Everybody gets in on the warmth tomorrow. In fact, we'll probably see some records in western Kansas tomorrow, but watch that wind, especially southwest into north central Kansas, for fire danger. We'll knock the temperature down just a couple of degrees as we head into the second half of the weekend, but the next big change is a chance for showers and storms on Tuesday. Might even see a wet snowflake Tuesday night before it comes to an end. For north central Kansas, gorgeous and warm tomorrow in Salina. Chance for a couple of showers and storms Tuesday. Again, Tuesday night might get cold enough to actually get a snowflake or two on the backside of that system. In the southwest, records may fall tomorrow, and it looks like you'll hit 70 again on Monday in Garden City. Could see a couple of showers on Tuesday, a little bit less optimistic about moisture chances for the southwest. We've got a chance for showers on Tuesday northwest, and again, we might see that mixing in with a little bit of snow, especially Tuesday night, before it comes to an end, and we finish next week absolutely beautifully. Stay tuned. Continuing coverage from Hesston is still to come.
Welcome back to Hesston, everyone, where we continue to tell the stories of the victims, their survivors, and also the heroes in this tragic event. And we really have learned quite a bit about this tight-knit community today. There were a lot of workers from AGCO that were actually at the vigil earlier tonight. AGCO is the other major employer that is here in Hesston that makes agricultural equipment. They wanted to make sure that XL workers know they too are part of their extended family.
I work at AGCO, and we working pretty close, and it hit home. I had a daughter that was working second shift at AGCO, so, you know, I tell you what, it raised the hair on my neck, you know, and, you know, you never know. You know, you always think that you're in a small town, you're safe. Where are you safe at?
We just happen to work in different places, so we just feel like even though I may work at a different place, you know, this really hits home with everybody, and we're, you know, we hurt with them and they hurt with us.
Family who have worked for the local Hesston Industries.
Those AGCO employees, though, aren't the only ones feeling the impact of the shooting. KSN's Eric Nacton took a walk down Main Street today to talk to small businesses.
With virtually the entire Hesston community impacted by the shootings at Excel, Main Street is no exception, including this True Value hardware store right behind me, which is an area where several Excel workers frequented.
You wonder all the people you know that work there, because we're a small community. We know a lot of those people.
True Value manager Mick Petrosi has lived in Hesston since 1977. He's run his store since 1990, and Thursday's shooting tragedy unfolded not far from his doorstep.
The people they employ and the amount of business they do here in town and support our store very well with maintenance items that they come and get. They're huge for us, for the town. I heard about it when we had a couple of rental people bringing back rental stuff and came by XL and said, oh my goodness, there's something serious going on over there. And then we turned on the TV, which we have right here, and the news had it already on there. It shakes you up a lot.
It's unlikely the shooter shopped at his store, but he feels the shock throughout his small town.
Could have been people that live in town, or could have been of our school system, parents of the kids that go to school here and stuff. So yeah, you never know how close it's going to get.
A noticeable difference in his True Value store's atmosphere today, but appreciation knowing it could have been even more severe.
It's a bad situation. It could have been a lot worse too. Thankful for Doug Schrader and our police force. That was super effort on their part.
In Hesston, Eric Nacton, KSN News.
Just one more example of how a small community is coming together.
Absolutely. We will have more coverage from Hesston right after the break.
Everybody at XO, they're really good people. And I think it's just so awesome how everybody has just came together like this. She would have loved that.
tragedy hits, people will do what they can to cope, and oftentimes athletes will head to the court.
That's right. Sports Director Emily Gagnon witnessed this firsthand today here in Hesston.
Normalcy after tragedy on a field in Hesston.
Okay, let's go to work. Here we go.
The streets throughout town were quiet this afternoon, but not on the diamond. The Hesston College softball team sticking to its schedule with heavy hearts.
Always surprised when this happens, big community or small community. It's sad to know that Hesston is now, added to the list of many towns that this has happened to in one way or another across the country.
Like most coaches, Andrew Sharp isn't from the town he works in, but he calls it home.
Thoughts and prayers are with the victims and also with the gunman himself. He has a story to tell as well, and it's a tragedy all the way around.
Believe it or not, there isn't one player on this team from the state of Kansas, but from the ones I spoke with, there's no question they feel the emotional impact within the community.
My first reaction was definitely in shock, because here in town it's a pretty quiet, knitted, close relationship with everyone. Everyone knows everyone. And I've actually been pretty comfortable, like, walking outside by myself and just always being alone, being out late. And so when I heard the news, I couldn't believe it.
Hesston College went on lockdown as soon as it got word of the shooting. Once it was lifted, students gathered on campus.
In the evening, we had like a prayer service, and I think just we're also, our president of our school is giving cards to Excel Industries, and so we're just trying to do small things like that that'll help them get over situation.
And to help the team get over the situation, they'll play ball to bring normalcy after tragedy.
We'll pause as a team before we play tomorrow and kind of remember, what has happened, and to kind of keep things in perspective.
From Hesston, Emily Gagnon, KSN Sports.
And the Larks will face Kansas Wesleyan tomorrow at 2 in Salina.
And we'll have much more coverage coming up right after the break.
We need to embrace our future, and we just need to tackle that head on.
As for this special coverage from Hesston, we leave you tonight with a look at how this community has come together in light of this tragedy. Good night, everyone.
We do want to give a big shout out to the law enforcement officers who did respond. You guys are heroes. Saved a lot of lives. A lot of lives.
Yeah.
A lot of lives.
I can't express how much I thank them. Everybody did such a good job. I'm terrible with remembering names, otherwise I'd shout out all kinds of names. I love you guys.
Yesterday, in the middle of the fear, there was also a lot of love. And what I see here today is a ton of love. And so each day, keep putting that love forward. Choose it before fear. I love all of you.